Inheritance. In this lesson, we'll look at the science and engineering practices of constructing explanations and designing solutions, engaging in argument from evidence, and obtaining, evaluating, and communicating information. Our cross-cutting concepts include patterns, cause and effect, structure and function. Differences between species. A huge variety of organisms live on our planet. Around 8.7 million different species have been documented, and many more are yet to be discovered. Organisms belonging to different species often look very different to one another. This is because they contain different genetic information. Differences within species. Members of the same species can also look different to one another. For example, there may be differences in characteristics such as fur color or eye color. Offspring have different characteristics to their parents and to each other. The differences that occur between different species and within the same species are called variation. So what is variation? Variation can come about for two reasons. Offspring inherit genetic information from their parents. Each individual inherits slightly different genetic information. This is called inherited variation. Characteristics are also affected by an individual's surroundings. This is called environmental variation. So what are the following characteristics environmental or inherited? Environmental characteristics include your accent, scars, piercings, and your hair length. Inherited characteristics might include your blood group, so your blood type that you have, your eye color, genetic diseases, and your natural hair color. Chromosomes. Genetic information is stored inside the nucleus of each cell as DNA, which is packaged into chromosomes. Each chromosome contains many genes. Chromosomes come in pairs. Each human body cell contains 23 pairs of chromosomes inside its nucleus, making a total of 46 chromosomes altogether. The processes by which genetic information is transmitted from one generation to the next is called heredity. So how is genetic information transmitted from parents to offspring? During fertilization, one sex cell from each parent fuses with the sex cell from the other parent. This produces one cell with DNA from both parents. So how is genetic information transmitted? How are our characteristics inherited? Stage 1. The human body cells contain 46 chromosomes arranged in 23 pairs. Stage 2. Egg and sperm cells contain only 23 chromosomes. This is half the number found in body cells. In stage 3, during sexual reproduction, an egg and a sperm fuse together. The nuclei from both cells fuse together. This is called fertilization. Stage 4, fertilization produces a fertilized egg containing 46 chromosomes in 23 pairs. One chromosome in each pair is from the mother, and the other is from the father. In stage 5, the fertilized egg will divide and grow to become an embryo, and then a fetus. This individual will develop a mixture of characteristics from both parents. Parents. How much of your genetic information comes from each of your parents? 50% comes from your mother and 50% comes from your father. You have half of the genes that your mother has and half of the genes that your father has. So how can we explain differences? Why do offspring from the same parents have different characteristics? The genes that end up in each new organism are chosen at random from the parent's genes. This happens when the sex cells are formed inside the parent. It means that each new organism is very unlikely to receive the same set of genes to other offspring from the same parents. Variations in humans can be due to inherited factors, as well as environmental factors or a combination of both. When humans reproduce via sexual reproduction, the nuclei of the male sex cell and the female sex cell fuse. This cannot happen the same way twice, which makes each individual unique. This is called inherited variation. Some features are due to the conditions in a person's surroundings. For example, your accent is just affected by the environment, but skin color is affected by both inherited and environmental factors. Variation caused by a person's surroundings is called environmental variation. Chromosome variants. Chromosomes are inherited from our parents. One member of each chromosome pair comes from each parent. Each chromosome in a pair contains genes that control the same characteristics. However, the versions of the gene on each chromosome might be different. A variant of a gene is known as an allele. In a chromosome pair, one gene variant will normally be dominant over the other. This means that it will override the other gene. In this case, the gene for brown eyes is dominant over the gene for blue eyes. So what eye color would this individual end up with? In this case, the individual is carrying the brown eye dominant allele, meaning that they would have brown eyes. So what do we know about heredity now? Chromosomes are usually found in pairs. You inherit a copy of each chromosome from each of your parents. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, making a total of 46. The sex cells, or gametes, are different as they have only one copy of each chromosome. Chromosomes contain genes, which are lengths of DNA. These are the code for physical characteristics such as eye color.